Hello fluffy gamers! I was reading the latest patch notes of 1.2.1 and it got me thinking, what are they doing? Let's start with the loot. They are changing how we get it in the deep desert PvP zones. The notes say, updated loot in PvP areas to be instanced, similar to the loot in PvE areas. This means that every player who loots a container in PvP area will get their own personal loot. This is to ensure that doing an activity and clearing out an area always has value and rewards for the effort. But that isn't the only change. They are also removing the weekly loot rotation. We have implemented a new loot structure. For the deep desert, schematics no longer rotate on a weekly basis. Now, these two systems have basically been the foundation of the game so far. Dune has never been known for the strong endgame, and for most players, the only endgame has been chasing the rare blueprints. That usually took at least a month, sometimes 2 or even more. But with those new changes, it might only take a couple of weeks or even less. And with instant loot, we'll see more blueprints flooding the marketplace. So, if someone really wants to, they could collect most of the rare blueprints in a single week. Why are they speeding this up so much? Maybe because they want more players in the deep desert PvP zones, and they think this will encourage more PvP. Supporting that idea, we also get few more changes. First one is that vehicle visibility distance is increased up to 2 kilometers. Well, the note doesn't say, but actually that's only when there is a player inside of a vehicle. And secondly, they added the ability to recover lost vehicles using a new mode in Vehicle Backup tool. And that is not only in PvP, but also for the storms and for the worms. So yet another core change to the game. That recovery change is huge, as you do not need to have Solari on your character, and it recovers every part durability to 5% even if the part durability is under 15%, except the chassis. That's the part that will determine if the vehicle can be recovered or not. If the chassis maximum durability gets below 15%, then you will not be able to recover the vehicle anymore. This is massive change in PvP and PvE. That in itself will reduce the need for grinding massively. Combine that with faster blueprint access, and suddenly the game's endgame grind looks way shorter. So again, why speed it up? There are new winds blowing in this company, and we'll get to that in a moment. And then there is this whole other issue to all the updates. The way they spell out some of the changes or sometimes don't even mention. That makes it much harder to figure out if we are dealing with a bug or is it intended. Few examples. Remember the patch where they changed all the floors and spawns in Haga? After that, the whole northern section of the eastern Vermilius Cap was empty. Then in patch 1.2, the spawns came back. There never was any mentions of that being an issue or not. And if we are talking about the floors and remapping, then what's that? Well, that's a floor sand that you can harvest in the safe zone. Yay! That also got introduced in patch 1.2. So what are they doing here? Taking away and putting back again? Just like the way we exit thopters, mainly scouts. I think it was back in beta when we spawned on top of thopters. Then at the launch it was at the back. In patch 1.1.2 it went back to the top. And now 1.2.1 it's back at the rear. And there never has been any mentions of that in the notes. Or the repair sound we got in patch 1.2, that is gone in server. So is it a bug or did they revert the update that nobody asked? It has become increasingly more and more difficult to understand them. And a lot of the times, even if they say something about the changes in the notes, it's more confusing than helping. Like the biggest change that was done to the worms, it's still confusing to some people. And their latest example would be this line. Players' worm threat no longer resets after reaching a certain height while using the suspensor pad while being targeted by the worm. To me it sounds that it affects only players who use suspensor pad skill. But it's not. It actually affects everyone. Because what they did is that they changed overall mechanics of the aggro system. So prior to this update you only needed to get about 50 meters off the ground to break aggro. Now with new update, well, first I thought it's 200 plus meters because that's how high I had to fly. But then I noticed some inconsistencies, so I figured there has to be something else. And what I found out is that it's not only the height based, which has no indicators, but now there is also hidden timer involved. And the time is about 15 seconds. So let me explain how this works. Once the worm pops its head out to yell at you, it either has 5 or 15 second animation. This is a long animation, so 15 seconds. And once the worm gets back under the ground, you have another up to 15 second window where the eating animation will occur. That being said, this timer between the warning and eating can be much shorter than 15 seconds. I will show you that in a bit. Ooh, I actually thought I will get hit here. Damn, that was close. When you do that, just go a little higher, okay? So anyway, where was I? Oh, the 15-second timer. Actually, let's pause here for a moment, because I need to know something important. What happens if I get hit by this shuttle? I have had this question up in my head for a long time, and I believe many of you have had the same thought. So let's try it out. Am I in a good position? And boom! Oh shit, it actually broke the wing. And oh, the storage module too. Okay. I think I can fix it up, so let me quickly do that. Oh, I'm almost out of fuel. Okay. Okay, let's make a cut here, and I shall be right back. While we wait, if you haven't subscribed yet, then now it's perfect time to do it. Alright, where was I? Right, the 15-second timer. There is a certain height where the safe zone begins, but there is no indicators for that height. So most players will not know that unless they have watched this video, as they are my most loyal subscribers, right? So what is that mysterious height for the safety then? Believe it or not, but it's somewhere between 10 and 15 meters. That's it. So for all the safety reasons, I will call out that the safe zone is about 20 meters, and I will prove that. So there is our worm. Our starting height is 313 meters. So we get up to 333 meters and then just wait for the 15 seconds. And boom, the aggro is gone. Also, do not forget the second indicator that shows up on the compass, the super sensitive indicator. If you have lots work left on the ground, then it is good idea to wait that out too. Also, if the eating animation pops up, as I mentioned earlier, it can come much sooner than 15 seconds. Like this one here was just around 8 seconds. And if you land back before the aggro indicator disappears, then be ready for another eating animation. If you do not let that indicator to reset, you will be looping this hungry worm spawn. So be sure that this indicator runs out, and if there is more players on the ground, then make sure that they also get off ground and don't go back too early. This definitely can be a new way to annoy other players. Very unfluffy. Also, another warning I wanna give out is that Funcom could change that hidden safe zone at any time without letting players know. I guess one could say I have lost some trust in them, or at least to the way they communicate with players. For example, they moved test server patch notes to a tiny notification window before the server selection. So if you are in game, you have no way to say what the notes are, and even more annoying is that when they update again, the last notes are wiped. So if you missed it, then you have no idea what they have done. What kind of a communication method is that? Utter nonsense is what that is. And I'm not even going to talk about how many bugs get a pass for the live server. And it makes me wonder why this test server exists at all. By the way, I'd love to hear how you all feel about these changes. Do you think speeding up the loot and reducing need for a grind is good, or will it hurt the game in the long term? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm really curious to know what others think. And another news that popped in my feed are not good either. According to GamesIndustry.biz, Funcom is planning layoffs. I will leave the link of the article in the video description. So when we put all this together, the risk of shortening the endgame, the frustration of misleading patch notes, the hard push for the console release, and the news that Funcom is reportedly planning layoffs at their studios, it paints a picture of a game in unstable state. This isn't drama. This is informed analysis of the development's direction. For my channel and for my time, I have to make a choice. Don't get me wrong, I still love this game very much, but I think the game is actually starting to figure out what it wants to be. A lot of the original ideas are gone, and that might not be a bad thing. It has so much potential to become much better what it currently is, but only time will tell what this game wants to be. So I will take a step back from active Dune gaming and let the game cook for a bit. I'm not quitting, rather just letting the game grow for a bit more. No point wasting time on things that won't matter a few weeks later. In meantime, I'll go check out few other games that have grown older and found their direction. So see you in some other game in a bit, and I'll be back in Dune when the game has clearer path. Stay fluffy, bye bye, bye bye.